Hello, beginning farmer friends. It is a day, and by a day, I mean it is absolutely gorgeous today. It is nearly 70 degrees at the very first or second-ish week, I guess, of March. I'm grinding some feed for the chickens. It's amazing how much feed these chickens are going through. We're grinding quite a bit of feed, and it's also amazing how much soy meal we're going through. We are grinding quite a bit of soy meal in to get that high protein feed for these chicks when they're young, so they grow, get to the weight we want them to get to. As I was grinding that feed, you might have heard the banging coming from the grinder mixer. That is something that we need to fix. I cannot figure out where that banging is coming from. I go around and I feel different places on the grinder mixer thinking, surely if I put my hand on it, I'll be able to hear or feel where something's beating. It sounds somewhere in this vicinity right here, but I can't figure out where it is. But what I was trying to say is that got me thinking there are quite a few mechanical things that need to be fixed on the farm. So I thought I would take a few minutes today to walk around with you and show you what mechanical things need to get fixed on the farm. I'm talking about implements, machinery, tractors, those sorts of things, so that we are most prepared to going into the spring. Obviously, this grinder mixer is something we use all year long, so it needs to get fixed on its own. If you've been following along for any amount of time, you know that the banging that's happening somewhere at the front of the grinder mixer, maybe inside the tank of the grinder mixer, I have no idea, is not the only thing that needs to be fixed. This little piece right here, this needs to be fixed, and by fixed I mean replaced. I do think I have found a parts grinder mixer that is the same as this one that I can go and get. Although there is a Gale grinder mixer and a farmhand grinder mixer on an auction. Now I know that I cannot get quote-unquote new parts for a farmhand grinder mixer. I'm not sure about the Gale. Maybe I'm better off just getting a parts grinder mixer for this, keeping it out back so that I can get the parts needed. Okay, we need to fix the crank so that I can get this up and down without having to crawl around. That's thing number one that needs to be fixed. As for the John Deere 4430, that's what I am sitting in front of right now. This hydraulic valve back here, this is called a selective control valve. It leaks. That's what the puddle is on the floor. I would like to get that fixed. It's about $800 to $1,000 to get a rebuilt selective control valve. It costs quite a bit to have one rebuilt, so what might happen is I get a replacement one of those and then rebuild the other one and keep it on hand, or have the other one rebuilt and keep it on hand. Another thing that I want to fix on the 4430 is the cab. One of the very first videos that I did when I started, or I guess restarted the YouTube channel for the beginning farmer, is clean out the cab. And when I cleaned it out, I noticed that there were a lot of problems, namely this rust that is not only on the floor pan right here, but also on the cab behind the floor pan. Now, the floor pan, I might be able to find one at a salvage yard and just plop it in. The cab, well, I could find a whole new cab, but that's not gonna happen. So what I would like to do at some point this summer is take out this floor pan right here. It's easy to get out. I would like to weld some metal on the back of that cab plate so we don't get any more deterioration going on. And then, as you can see, there is no padding, there is no insulation, there is no soundproofing. All of the cab kit is gone. I would like to install a cab kit onto the sides, to the posts, all of that good stuff. I think it will help with insulation, with the air conditioning, and with soundproofing. We did replace the hydraulic pump on it a while back. That seems to be working, so all in all, the 4430 is generally ready to go for the year. This tractor, not so much. The main thing missing on the Minneapolis Moline M5 is the carburetor, as you can see. We need to clean the carburetor, get it put back on. Once that's put back on, the Minneapolis Moline M5 should probably, I think, work. It's probably going to need a new battery as well. The Minneapolis Moline M5 does not have a ton of uses, I guess I would say, on the farm, but one place that I could see using it a lot is moving chicken wagons around, because it's nice to not have to get in and out of the cab when you're moving around something like that. That would be a good place to use the M5. It's not big enough hydraulics wise to run the rake, I think, and it's not big enough hydraulics wise to run the grinder mixer. So there are just a few things that it can do, but I kind of want to be able to use it to do those things. So hopefully we'll get that fixed soon. There are other pieces of equipment out there that really don't need anything done on those. We can talk about those if we ever do an equipment tour. The hog cart, though, there is something that I need to get done on it. I don't know if you can tell with the camera angles and stuff like that, but this back left-hand corner on the hog cart is oily or greasy or whatever you want to call it, because this hydraulic cylinder right here, it leaks out of this bolt right here. which means that there is problems with the O-rings, the seals, whatever you want to call it, inside that hydraulic cylinder. I've talked to quite a few people about it, asked them where to get that cylinder rebuilt. They don't have a lot of good answers. They say probably the best way that you could fix it is just to put a hose on here and on the other side, and instead of having it be a one-way cylinder, have it be something like a two-way cylinder so that that hydraulic fluid doesn't spray out onto the hydraulic cart. When you're lowering it up and down, it just goes back through the system. That sounds like probably what I'm going to do. That'll just take two hoses going from the back to the front, a T up there, and then a hose going to the tractor. A fitting seems pretty easy, and we can get the hydraulic cart up to snuff. My Kuhn SR112 speed rake, it's the newest piece of equipment on the farm. It is basically ready to go. We will grease it, we will take it to the field. I really like having this rake. It makes raking so much faster. It is unbelievable. And it's kind of cool having, you know, something built within the last 30 years. Speaking of new-ish equipment on the farm, my John Deere Moco 926 has two main things that needs to happen other than just typical maintenance. The first one is this door. I don't know if you can tell from the video, but this door is kind of like a smiley face, and the reason that it's a smiley face is it is broken right here by the handle. So what needs to happen on it is it just needs to be taken off. You can take, oh my, just a second, I'm gonna have to put you down. Like I said, it needs to be fixed, but all you have to do is take off these bolts right here, then you can lift the whole door off. We'll come along and we will just weld a piece along here. That way it will all be fixed. Then we'll probably put some new mud flaps, not the typical John Deere canvas that it comes with. We'll replace all the blades and things like that, get it ready for the new year. The biggest thing that needs to be done on this, and probably the most important, like, I guess the door is important, but this could be majorly detrimental if we don't get this fixed. And this is that gearbox right over there. At some point last year, the gearbox that sits up underneath this, that runs all the heads, the turtles, whatever you want to call these, for the cutters, it started leaking. It was towards the end of the season last year. I think I just had one more cutting. So I just checked the fill level a couple times a day, added if necessary, always add it every morning. It wasn't leaking like a sieve, but it was leaking enough that you needed to add it. I need to either take this whole unit into John Deere, have them take it off and replace the seals, or I need to attempt to take just that gearbox off, take the gearbox into John Deere, and have them replace the seal. Either way, something is going to John Deere, because this is one of those things that I don't really feel comfortable with doing on my own. I want it done right, because these gearboxes are expensive and they're kind of important for the running of this unit. Once that's done, we'll service it. We'll make sure the oil level in the cutter bar is good. We'll have the door fixed, and we'll be ready to cut a lot of hay this year. These wagon gears aren't really a piece of equipment that we need to repair, but one of these needs to turn into a chicken wagon, possibly a second one. My son also wants to make kind of like a parade wagon, or maybe call it like a people mover wagon. So he might end up using one of these wagon gears. I don't remember which one he said he liked better, either the green one or this red one. But I know this, in the coming days, one of these is going to get pulled up into the shed. It's going to get extended out to make it as long as possible, and we're going to start building a chicken wagon on top of it. It's starting to seem like we have quite a bit of work to do this spring. A lot of mechanical stuff. We'll see what I can get done. And those are just the mechanical things that I need to fix, not even touching the infrastructure things, like the building things and the completing things like a freezer and the fencing things, all of those projects that I need to complete. So if you want to follow along with that journey, like, subscribe, put a comment down below. We are really trying to go all in on the YouTube in the coming weeks. So all your comments, all your likes, all your subscriptions, all your bell notifications, that all helps everybody find this channel. I think in my last video I showed you some of the lambs that we had recently. Let me hop in here and show them to you how they're doing now. They are doing okay. This set of twins right here seems to be doing well. This one right here seems to be doing well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this little tour of our machinery gets you excited about spring. I know I'm excited about spring. It's really easy to get excited about spring when it's 65 degrees outside. I also know that we're gonna have lows in the 20s and highs in the upper 30s in the coming 7 days. So this is kind of like fall spring.